We have officially crossed the threshold from the dark, intense waters of Scorpio and stepped into the fiery, expansive landscape of Sagittarius. The first decan of Sagittarius, the 1st to 10th degrees, is ruled entirely by Jupiter, bringing a massive wave of optimism, restlessness, and an insatiable hunger for truth. After doing the heavy, undercover psychological digging in Scorpio, your planets here are ready to break out of the underworld and sprint toward the horizon. This degree range represents the birth of the explorer, the seeker, and the philosopher. The ultimate lesson here is learning to trust the universe, broaden your perspective through direct experience, and shoot your arrow toward a higher vision without getting lost in reckless excess. 1 degree Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, a retired army veteran gathering to awake old memories. Symbol meaning: this degree represents the bridge between past battles and future wisdom. It highlights where your planets take the tactical, hard-won survival skills of Scorpio and begin transforming them into a philosophical foundation, using past experiences to mentor others. What the planets mean here. Sun, a respected elder, historian, or mentor who commands natural authority by sharing authentic stories of past struggles and triumphs to inspire the younger generation. Moon finds deep emotional comfort in reviewing personal history, keeping journals, and anchoring themselves in a proud, resilient lineage. Mercury, mind excels at structuring historical narratives, writing memoirs, analyzing past military or corporate strategies, and extracting timeless lessons from old data. Venus, attracted to mature, experienced partners with a rich backstory, values relationships built on mutual respect and shared life wisdom. Mars, channels physical energy into archiving veteran affairs, practicing traditional martial arts, or defending the legacy and history of a community. Jupiter, great fortune with historical biographical publishing, military retirement investments, heritage preservation grants, or antique collections. Saturn, carrying the serious responsibility of protecting historical truth, mastering the discipline needed to turn personal trauma into an enduring archive of wisdom. 2 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, white-capped waves display the power of wind over water. Symbol meaning: this symbol represents the mobilization of emotional energy by the power of spirit and thought. It shows where a planet feels a sudden, exhilarating surge of inspiration, forcing deep-seated feelings into dynamic, visible action and creative momentum. What the planets mean here. Sun, a highly dynamic, windswept visionary or motivational speaker whose infectious energy can whip up stagnant public emotions into a roaring movement. Moon, experiences intense, rapidly shifting emotional tides, deeply responsive to atmospheric changes, needing vast open spaces or wild weather to feel alive. Mercury, mind is a tempest of rapid-fire ideas, exceptional for high-energy brainstorming, writing fast-paced prose, or pioneering radically new philosophical concepts. Venus, loves with a wild, untamed, and breathless passion, easily bored by routine romance, seeking a partner who feels like an adventurous force of nature. Mars, physical energy is highly explosive and unpredictable, thrives in high-wind sports like windsurfing, sailing, or launching aggressive, fast-paced campaigns. Jupiter, exceptional luck with meteorological research, wind energy investments, maritime trade networks, or launching viral public relations campaigns. Saturn, overcoming an early fear of being overwhelmed by chaotic forces, learning to build structures that harness raw, turbulent energy constructively. 3 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, 2 men playing chess. Symbol meaning: this degree represents intense intellectual strategy, foresight, and cosmic geometry. It highlights where your planets treat life like a grand, philosophical game, using laser-focused abstract thought to anticipate moves and master complex systems without emotional bias. What the planets mean here. Sun, a masterful political strategist, grandmaster game designer, or high-level defense analyst who maps out long-term scenarios with clinical precision. Moon, processes emotions like a complex puzzle, requires intellectual distance to sort through feelings and finds security in predictable, strategic frameworks. Mercury, mind is exceptionally brilliant at spatial reasoning, advanced mathematics, coding game logic, chess theory, and thinking 5 steps ahead of an opponent. Venus, attracted to brilliant, highly intellectual partners, loves engaging in witty banter and treats the dance of attraction like a sophisticated game of strategy. Mars, channels drive into tactical sports, corporate boardroom negotiations, competitive gaming, or executing highly calculated business maneuvers. Jupiter, success found in patenting logic puzzles, funding artificial intelligence logic modules, running high-stakes litigation firms, or international tournament coordination. Saturn, overcoming early mental rigidity or strategic failures, discovering that patience and long-term planning are your absolute keys to winning the board. 4 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, a little child learning to walk. Symbol meaning, this degree represents the initial, vulnerable steps toward independence and exploration. It shows where your planets must be willing to stumble, embrace a beginner's mind, and trust that the universe will catch them as they expand their boundaries. What the planets mean here. Sun, a patient pioneer, early childhood development specialist, or coach who excels at guiding people through the awkward, foundational stages of a new life path. Moon, possesses a deeply innocent, resilient, and optimistic inner child, recovers quickly from emotional falls and treats every day as a brand new adventure. Mercury, mind is intensely curious and perpetually learning, excellent at breaking down highly complex systems into simple, easy-to-understand baby steps. Venus, brings an innocent, idealistic, and sweet vulnerability to relationships, values small, authentic gestures of growth and encourages their partner's independence. Mars, physical energy is eager but uneven, thrives in learning entirely new physical disciplines from scratch, refusing to give up when stumbling. Jupiter, great fortune with early childhood educational funding, publishing children's literature, pediatric physical therapy, or launching fresh, grassroots startups. Saturn, overcoming early physical delays, structural frustrations, or a fear of failure, discovering that stumbling is just an essential part of mastering the walk. 5 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, an old owl perched high on a branch of a huge tree. Symbol meaning, this is a supreme degree of quiet observation, ancestral wisdom, and perspective. It highlights where a planet withdraws from the noisy hustle of the world to sit in silent contemplation, gathering deep insight into human nature from a high vantage point. What the planets mean here. Sun, a deeply revered philosopher, spiritual elder, or silent observer whose rare words carry the heavy weight of absolute, unshakable truth and perspective. Moon, possesses a profoundly calm, nocturnal, and highly intuitive emotional nature, recharges through silence, deep solitude, and a panoramic view of life. Mercury, mind is a repository of deep wisdom, exceptional for wildlife ecology research, deep philosophical text analysis, or working as a highly trusted advisor behind the scenes. Venus, attracted to quiet, deeply thoughtful, or older partners, values a peaceful, spiritually mature love that doesn't need constant verbal reassurance. Mars, drive is quiet, patient, and highly calculated, channels physical energy into nocturnal research, archery, or waiting perfectly for the absolute right moment to act. Jupiter, spectacular luck with funding old-growth forestry conservation, leading esoteric philosophical academies, or publishing major text collections on ancient wisdom. Saturn, carrying the solemn, heavy mantle of ancestral knowledge, overcoming early feelings of isolation to become a pillar of institutional wisdom. 6 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, a cricket game. Symbol meaning, this symbol represents good sportsmanship, civilized competition, and honoring the rules of the game. It shows where your planets thrive within structured, respectful social frameworks, balancing a fierce desire to win with an absolute respect for fair play. What the planets mean here. Sun, a naturally fair leader, sports commissioner, or athletic director who emphasizes team camaraderie, mutual respect, and cultural tradition above raw winning. Moon, finds emotional security in fair, predictable, and polite social circles, loves traditional family games and values absolute sportsmanship in everyday life. Mercury, mind excels at learning complex regulatory frameworks, sports journalism, rule bookkeeping, or calculating intricate statistical analytics. Venus, attracted to polite, well-mannered, and athletic partners, loves group sporting events and values fairness and clear boundaries in relationships. Mars, channels physical drive into traditional team sports, outdoor recreation, or organizing competitive community leagues built on strict etiquette. Jupiter, exceptional luck with investing in professional sports franchises, managing athletic gear brands, or funding international sports tourism. Saturn, overcoming early experiences with cheating or unfair treatment, mastering the discipline required to uphold absolute institutional fairness. 7 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, Cupid knocks at the door of a human heart. Symbol meaning, this degree represents an unexpected romantic or spiritual awakening. It highlights a planet that acts as an emotional catalyst, forcing you to open your heavily guarded doors to let love, optimism, and higher connection completely flood your life. What the planets mean here. Sun, a radiant, romantic idealist or matchmaker whose life purpose is to break down people's emotional walls and remind the world of the healing power of love. Moon, highly romantic and emotionally porous, experiences sudden, intense waves of affection and possesses an unshakable faith in soulful encounters. Mercury, mind is geared toward writing beautiful romantic poetry, relationship counseling, or developing inspiring narratives about human connection. Venus, an absolute placement of pure, romantic enchantment, experiences love at first sight, sweeps others off their feet, and demands a grand, idealized romance. Mars, driven by the pursuit of passion, channels physical energy into creative courting rituals, artistic romance, or fiercely protecting love against cynicism. Jupiter, spectacular luck with wedding planning industries, dating application platforms, publishing romantic fiction, or running major relationship retreats. Saturn, overcoming an early, heavily guarded defense mechanism against intimacy, discovering that opening your heart is an act of ultimate structural courage. 8 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, deep within the depths of the earth, new elements are being formed. Symbol meaning, this degree represents slow, unseen, alchemical crystallization. It shows where your planets are quietly cooking up a massive new reality deep within your subconscious, gathering raw materials over time to form an unshakable, gemstone-like core of truth. What the planets mean here. Sun, a profound deep earth geologist, mining engineer, or psychoanalyst who excels at discovering hidden wealth or tracking long-term internal transformations. Moon, possesses a deeply grounded, stable, yet intensely transformative emotional landscape, quietly crystallizes feelings into unshakable core convictions over time. Mercury, mind cuts like a drill, exceptional for metallurgical research, mineralogy, crystallography, or studying the deepest subterranean patterns of the earth. Venus, values relationships that have been compressed and hardened by time into absolute diamond-like loyalty, attracted to quiet, deeply solid individuals. Mars, channels drive into deep earth excavation, mining operations, jewelry crafting, or enduring long, grueling periods of silent internal preparation. Jupiter, great fortune with gemstone trading, discovering major underground natural resource reserves, or funding tectonic and geological research. Saturn, facing early feelings of being buried or heavily restricted, discovering that this intense pressure was secretly turning your life into a priceless diamond. 9 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, a mother leads her small child step by step up a steep stairway. Symbol meaning, this degree represents patient mentorship, progressive education, and structured spiritual scaling. It highlights where your planets excel at guiding others up life's steep learning curves, breaking down high vertical goals into safe, manageable steps. What the planets mean here. Sun, a deeply dedicated professor, developmental therapist, or spiritual guide who specializes in walking students through long, rigorous evolutionary paths. Moon, instinctively maternal and protective, finds emotional fulfillment in nurturing growth, teaching foundational habits, and helping others climb toward success. Mercury, mind is beautifully structured for curriculum design, educational textbook writing, pedagogical research, or step-by-step career path counseling. Venus, attracted to supportive, nurturing partners who actively encourage their personal and professional ascent, values mentorship dynamics in love. Mars, channels physical energy into fitness coaching, physical rehabilitation, mountaineering instruction, or steadily driving a project up a steep corporate ladder. Jupiter, success found in establishing private academy institutions, funding higher educational scholarships, or running large-scale professional mentorship programs. Saturn, carrying the heavy responsibility of a generational guide, overcoming early academic or structural hurdles to become a master builder of human potential. 10 degrees Sagittarius. The Sabian symbol, a theatrical goddess of opportunity. Symbol meaning, this final degree of the decan represents absolute luck, spectacular showmanship, and striking while the iron is hot. It highlights a planet that knows exactly how to play to an audience, recognize a golden cosmic door, and leap through it with dramatic confidence. What the planets mean here. Sun, a naturally lucky, charismatic entertainer, talent agent, or entrepreneur who treats life as a grand stage, effortlessly drawing lucrative opportunities out of thin air. Moon, emotionally fueled by applause, public validation, and high-stakes opportunities, possesses an innate, theatrical instinct for when to gamble on a gut feeling. Mercury, mind is exceptionally quick and opportunistic, brilliant for high-end theater production, marketing show-stopping media campaigns, or live auctioneering. Venus, radiates a spectacular, dramatic star quality, loves glamorous social environments and is drawn to wealthy, high-profile, or highly expressive partners. Mars, channels physical drive into theatrical performing arts, stunt coordination, launching high-visibility corporate initiatives, or aggressively hunting for big breaks. Jupiter, spectacular, legendary luck with casinos, entertainment media conglomerates, lottery organizations, or securing major venture capital through pure showmanship. Saturn, overcoming early stage fright, missed opportunities, or a fear of being seen, mastering the discipline required to stand center stage and run the show. Subscribe, like, and share.